everyone, and welcome to another exciting commentary podcast. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Brandon.
And I'm Adam.
Brandon's singing a song about the fact that he's Brandon. Today, we're going to continue on our series with Star Trek 3, guys.
How about that?
I'm excited about this because when we get finished with this, we finally will be caught up to Star Trek 4, where Sarah and I were when we began to go through these all those years ago.
Yeah. Absolutely. Cool. Finally back at it, getting stuff done.
Yeah, and it's neat because we're doing these in such close proximity that we have 1 and 2 fresh in our minds jumping into this. And so I'm excited to watch it. You guys said it's been a long time since either of you have seen it?
Yes, I've seen it a billion times.
I do remember, of course.
Absolutely, yeah.
I don't.
It's never too long.
I haven't seen it very many times. I'd say maybe 4 or 5 times.
Quick impressions, real quick. Not of the movie or of, like, Kirk. I've had enough of you! Okay, that's my quick impression of this movie. Quick impressions real quick before we get into this. Obviously, the age-old wisdom about the Star Trek movies or consensus of fans with the Star Trek movies is the even-odd thing. The even ones are good. The odd ones are bad. Depending on what the new Star Trek 4 ends up looking like when we finally get it in the Abrams verse, it's possible that we will have a flip of that where the odd ones aren't as good and the even ones are great. But we'll see what that's like. Strike that reverse. Yes. Where the odd ones are great and the even ones are not so great. Yeah, that's what I meant to say. Do you guys subscribe to that whole thing, or do you think 3 is one of the better Star Trek movies and kind of on par with the really good ones? Like, is 3 as good as 6?
I think it's up there. I don't think it's like nearly as bad as people say, where it's like, one of the lesser ones. I think it's definitely one of the better. It's definitely better than all the Next Generation ones, except for maybe First Contact. I might rate it above First Contact, personally.
Story-wise, I think I would, yeah. It's not built on a faulty premise in the first place, and First Contact has that a little bit.
Right.
I'm going to say this in kind of not convoluted, just follow me on this for a second. But I would say that if you were to put these on a curve to say which ones are better than other ones, overall, I think the odd ones may be lesser.
Sure.
But there may be odd ones that are better than some even ones, but not at the same percentage type, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
So I think you could have some of that, but like I believe it almost up until when Patrick Stewart's like, we're making an even numbered Star Trek, like it's gonna be great.
Did he say that when they made Nemesis?
Did he actually say that?
Yeah.
That's
he's like, I think it's gonna be great, and I was like, oh man.
I would say that 3 is the most polarizing of the TOS films.
Yeah.
Certainly.
And it's interesting because it's right in the middle, right? 3 is the movie where, well, okay, I guess 4 would be right in the middle if you have 6 movies, because.
No, 3 and 4 on either side would be
there is no middle.
That's true. There would be no middle. Yeah.
At the end of
you don't have
3, but before the beginning of 4, that's the middle of the Star Trek
So,
movies.
anyways, but I know a lot of people who love 3, and I know a lot of people who think that 3 is kind of mediocre. And
I just don't care for the original premise.
It does seem to be the most polarizing of the TOS films. Yeah. I had the best viewing I ever had of it when Sarah and I did our last commentary on it. And if you go back and listen to that, I'm real positive on it, and we're kind of discovering thematic things and connections, and it feels more cohesive than it ever did before. I've watched it once or twice since then, and have kind of like the motion picture commentary that Sarah and I did, have never had that again. And I've always liked 3, but it's nowhere near as good as 2. I agree with people who say that it feels like an extension of 2 before it's really its own story, and people talk about 2, 3, and 4 as a trilogy. The problem is 4 doesn't feel like the end of a trilogy so much as you needed those 2 movies to get us to this really good singular standalone piece, right? And I mean, like, it does bookend it, and it does finish.
It picks up where the other one leaves
But what I was going to say is it does wrap up, all the issues that Kirk got his crew into in 3 by the end of that movie. So I mean, it ties up the loose ends.
It's a loose trilogy.
But 2, 3, and 4 aren't one story.
No,
they're not.
Most certainly. And I would say that 3 feels a lot more like an extension of 2 than it feels like the middle of this story.
Right, definitely.
While I like this story, the thing that I couldn't wrap my head around was the Genesis device transforms the matrix of whatever it is. Like, I never got the sense of where the photon torpedo was when the explosion happened. I didn't get the sense that there was anything left to work with that should have allowed this movie to happen the way that it did.
You mean to make the Genesis planet?
Yeah.
It just came, all the mass of the nebula like came together to make a
No,
planet.
I get
That's
that.
That was what they
But
were...
where was the photon torpedo when that happened, and why did
No,
it?
I've always wondered
Why
about
did it
that
help?
too.
It just
Yeah.
detonated.
Because he just lands on the planet later and then gets the benefits of Genesis? I thought Genesis, it had to be there when Genesis was happening, and it restructured the whole
sure.
matrix.
Oh, well, maybe there's like residuals. Yeah, I see what you're saying. Where
They
it
never
brought him
explained
back.
that enough for me.
It re-energized his cells and all that stuff.
Yeah, and there certainly is some like afterthought, adding stuff to the mythology and the pseudoscience of Genesis.
The abilities
Right,
of
the
Genesis.
Protomatter.
They
Yeah,
kinda
the Protomatter thing. That's
well,
that's the big
if
one.
we
Yeah.
want to do this,
Because
we
you don't
really
get the
should kind
sense
of...
in Wrath of Khan that it was necessarily a mad science or bad idea
Right.
thing, and then we kind of get into the hubris of
And
it.
it seemed like the
in
cave
3.
had been there for a while, at least,
Yeah.
So, and that didn't destruct.
Well, let's go ahead and get into it as we watch
Okay.
the film. If you want to watch it with us, get out your DVD, your Blu-ray, however you want to watch it. Get it to timestamp 0. This one may be on Netflix at the time you're watching it. It may not. This goes in on and off of Netflix
It might
and
be
other,
on Hulu
in other
too.
streaming
They're
places.
on there.
Hulu
Yeah, I've
has
seen
those
it
too.
on there,
Does
yeah.
Hulu usually have all or nothing, or do they have movies in and out like Netflix
They
does?
usually seem to have most of them if they have them.
Because
But-
Netflix is weird about it.
Yeah,
they'll have
they'll
half,
have
they'll
half
have
of-
2/3 of
right.
it. Yeah.
Right.
But we're going to go ahead and get right into it, folks, and get ready to press play. Whenever I say now, there is only one version of Star Trek 3, so you don't have to worry about director's cuts or anything like that. Here we go. Everybody, please press play right now.
How come you don't say to press engage for Star Trek?
Well, it's a 2-syllable word. It takes too long, so you press play on the end part, or the English part is it right? Engage.
Yeah.
I guess it's the same thing as right now. I could just say, I could just not say the right part, and yeah.
Yeah.
So there's
Last
there's
time
that.
on Star Trek.
You could just go with gauge. Or you could go mark.
So the first time I should say the first time I was really paying attention to Star Trek 2 and actually watched them in order, because when I was a kid, I've said this before, I watched these all out of order,
Right.
and there were a lot of different events that I couldn't remember what happened in what, so like I thought the Enterprise blew up in 2,
Right.
and I thought God was in 3. Like, there's just all these things that I couldn't get. I thought El Capitan was in 3.
I watched.
Marshmelons.
I watched
Marshmelons.
the trilogy, quote unquote, in reverse order. I watched 4, 3, and then 2.
Oh,
I don't
wow.
know
Oh,
why
that's strange.
Yeah, I don't know why it happened like that.
So the first time I watched them in order, I mean
Yeah.
2, 3, and 4, and was actually paying attention, I thought there's absolutely no way that you don't that they didn't, Harv Bennett and those guys, that they didn't end Star Trek 2 knowing that they were going to bring Spock back
Right.
in Star Trek 3, and I thought it was ridiculous that people walked out of the theater thinking he was going to stay dead.
Right.
Kind of like people walking out of Infinity War, where it's like, they're going to bring these people
They're gonna
back.
bring them
Like, why are we worried
back.
about it?
Exactly.
They didn't have any idea, and I
don't understand it.
I
the
still
torpedo
have a hard
tube is
time
big
with it,
question
but-
mark. It's like a giant question mark. The end?
Yeah. No, it's really weird. But everybody involved always says that well, the big thing is the Contra thing.
Right.
What Nimoy and everybody else claims is that the big thing that they didn't do on purpose was putting the Contra in Dr. McCoy.
Then what the hell was that remember insert shot all about?
According
there?
to Shatner, and in the 50-year mission, the oral history of Star Trek, Shatner claims, and there aren't any, and there's a lot of like conflicting reports about things in everything Star Trek in these books.
Right.
So you have to take it with a grain of salt, right?
Right.
But nobody contradicts him. There's not anybody else that really talks about this. According to Shatner. Or maybe there's more talk about it in the Wrath of Khan section, but I haven't read that in a while, so I don't remember. I read the Search for Spock section again today.
Okay.
Shatner claims that was an ad-lib thing that Nimoy made up on the day, that it's
really?
not in the script, that the whole remember thing, he just wanted to do something mysterious, says
Weird.
Shatner. Yeah.
Huh.
That kind of
I mean, it
sounds
could
like
be
Nimoy.
possible. I think I heard that story too from him. once.
From Nimoy or from Shatner?
No, from Shatner.
Yeah.
I'd heard that. Yeah.
But like, how good's his memory?
Right.
Like, I just, you almost want to look at the original script and see if it was there.
Right. Right.
You know, it might have been something that Shatner thought that. I mean, I'm not saying that Shatner's intentionally lying about it. Why would you do that? I'm just saying he might not.
He might not.
He might not remember it. You know, exactly as it happened, or he might not have. He might have somehow not. You know, known that it was in the script, although he would have the script. So that's stupid. Like, I guess he would know that.
You know, it's like they only gave them sections of the script. They wanted to keep it all mystery.
It's only in Nimoy's. It's just
it's all blacked out.
Yeah.
It's not exactly a Star Trek thing to do there. Mark Leonard as Sarek. This is a pretty intro. Just clouds going by. Starts out with
she's a
classical
classic movie actor, Jane Judith Anderson.
Yeah. So in the 50-year mission, there's a lot of conflict in well, there's some people really enjoyed making that movie and some people didn't. And the one thing everyone could agree on is the 2 days she was there were awesome.
Really?
But other than everybody loved her.
Yeah. Wow. I wish James Horner had done more with this score rather than reuse so much.
Interesting because Horner says this is his best score,
really?
or that it's better than 2, and
I don't know if I agree with that.
And he also though sounded somewhat disappointed that he reused as much as he did, but he felt like he had to because this is like a direct sequel to 2 and an extension of that story, and he's created themes for each of these characters, so he thought it would be weird to get into another movie and we're not using those same themes for those characters, and like, I agree with that. It would be weird if you got into Dark Knight and you weren't using anything that you had in Begins, because the flavor of it is so similar, and, you know, Batman has a theme.
And then it's funny, after this movie, then he became too expensive for them, so then they had to go with the guy that they used for 4, whose name I don't even remember.
I forget right now, but
but
5 is but 5 has a great score too.
5's back to Goldsmith. Somehow Shatner was able to bring him back.
Oh, is that Goldsmith?
Yeah.
Huh. I just couldn't remember right now. Oh, no, that's right. He's a busy man. Yeah. Yeah, of course.
Uneasy. Look at that Starfield sparkling.
I like that they kind of kept the damage on the bridge here as kind of a callback to 2, but the lighting is all changed on the bridge, which is kind of strange that it would change like that, you know?
Yeah, that's true. Because I mean, when you say callback, well, that should be a given, right? Like, it shouldn't be. It shouldn't be a callback. It should be an homage. It should feel like this is the very next thing that's happening. I mean, they're coming back from the Genesis planet. Like, minutes have gone by.
Yeah.
Or days, you know, a couple of days have gone by.
They had to repair the ship before it could move.
Yeah,
I'm sure.
Yeah, they did. Well, and he talks about that.
Yeah.
I was never a big fan of these chairs.
They always look strange. Yeah.
I still want that uniform, though.
They look like a seashell kind of.
I was going to say the captain's chair especially is real seashell-like.
Look at that dashboard. That looks great.
And these buttons were always strange too. Like,
kind of looks like the DeLorean back plate.
Or his hair's changed a lot in 2 days too.
I'm sorry how long everyone has been.
She's rocking the 1984 Jerry curl look in this movie.
She got it done for the funeral.
That may be so.
Is that what it looked like at the funeral?
I don't think so.
I was trying.
Is this the first time they established him as the miracle worker? Was this it? I don't remember.
He was doing that kind of stuff in TOS some too,
But did they call him that in TOS?
No, I don't think they called him that.
Well, there you go. Right there.
Okay.
Well, that's why he said, that's why Adam was saying that. He remembered that line.
Oh, yeah. Is it the first time? I don't know either.
There's Phil Morris.
You didn't tell him how long it would really take, did you?
Phil Morris.
That is Phil Morris.
Young Phil Morris.
Yeah. I honestly forgot he was on the bridge here.
Yeah.
Phil Morris is in Star Trek several times.
Yes, when he's a little kid.
He's in Voyager. He's right, and you're going all the way back to Miri.
Right.
But he's in Friendship 1.
Oh yeah.
And
he was great in Friendship 1.
Yeah, I mean, that's not a great episode, but he's really good in it.
Yeah.
And he is a Jem Hadar.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
In DS9.
Yes, in that episode where they're not Not the first episode where they're trapped on the planet. The second time where they're crashed on the planet. And I always get those two confused in my brain.
He is Martian Manhunter in Smallville. He's the first live-action Martian Manhunter.
Really? Huh.
Which is funny that we've had so much superhero stuff and DC stuff on TV now that I can say the first live-action Martian Manhunter. And I think that might have started the trend of... Or maybe it was right before... Maybe Justice League had him turn into a black man. I can't remember. But I think Smallville helps to really solidify in other things outside of comics...
John
Jones' human appearance as a black guy. Mm-hmm. I have met him on multiple occasions. He's a really cool guy, Phil Morris, and he has a massive comic book collection.
Oh, that's awesome.
And he and I have taught comics at a few cons I've been to that he was at. He's real personal and approachable.
This model of this freighter ship, you'll see
it looks like Maquis-ish or something, doesn't it?
They reuse it constantly,
or
all the way
Kazon.
up through. Yeah, Kazon. They reuse it all the way through.
Fun.
Probably when they started using CGI models. I don't know when that was, but.
Oh, so you're saying they reuse it as other alien ships and stuff? Yeah, okay. So maybe it was a Kazon ship.
It was in the
random freighters and stuff.
The Deep Space, the Maquis episode, the Maquis.
Oh, okay.
Deep Space Nine. It's the Cardassian ship that explodes.
Oh, so it's not a Maquis ship. Oh, yeah. I thought I nailed it.
Look at that storage
That's
device.
like a cassette tape.
It had a bunch of components in it.
I have heard people say Christopher Lloyd doesn't look enough like a Klingon. I don't agree with that.
I think he looks like a Klingon.
The first time I realized it was him, of course, it took me out real hard, and I had to readjust to it. Because when I was a kid, I saw this movie a couple times before
I didn't realize it. My mom and dad were like, it's Christopher Lloyd. And I'm like, from Back to the Future?
And then I got really into Back to the Future, and I was like, wait a minute, that's great. And Clue and stuff, like, after you get that voice in your head, it's unmistakable no matter what language he's speaking.
Of course.
You know who's unrecognizable in this is John Larroquette.
I don't even know who he is right off.
He's one of the Klingons.
Is he?
Yeah, he's like Maul.
Point him out, please.
He's Maul.
Is that Maul? Oh, okay. No, I have heard that. Now that you say that, but I didn't remember that.
I don't remember that either. Point him out, please.
Maltz Joel Yichu!
Oh, boy.
Yep, that's the...
Forgot that happened.
No witnesses.
And I think because of TNG, a lot of folks probably go back to these movies, especially if they're seeing them for the first time, and they're confused by Klingon casting, like Mark Leonard in Motion Picture,
right?
And Christopher Lloyd here, and even and even the Klingons in Star Trek V. We didn't cast them back then the way we do now, or the way we did at least with the 24th century stuff. Obviously, I mean, we still cast real big now, but they look totally different in Discovery.
Right.
But in TNG there was like a height requirement.
Really?
I mean, it was mostly black guys who played them, but there were other ethnicities. I think that's a myth a lot of people have, where people think that that you have to be African American to play a Klingon.
I don't think
that's not true.
That's not true.
But there was I mean
Hurtler.
Yeah.
Exactly.
No, you didn't have to be African American. A lot of them were. And part of that, I think, is makeup. It's dark-skinned anyway. It's so much easier. Kinpak, right. And Gowron, my goodness.
Gowron, of course.
Obviously, yeah.
And he's not that big. He kind of broke the rule there.
He broke the rule a little bit, yeah. But for the most part, there was this height requirement.
Yes.
And I think Christopher Lloyd is a tall guy, but I don't think he meets the TNG height requirement.
I don't think so either. I'm
not sure how tall he is.
I love this starbase just for starters.
Those are the bases that we keep going back to in TNG. I think we had this conversation last.
Well, in TNG, all they did was they just took the Enterprise D and they just did the same footage. They just put the Enterprise D over it, so it looks like the Earth in the background or whatever.
Wow. That's hilarious. Good stuff.
And of course, the scale's all wrong because that ship's supposed to be way smaller than the Enterprise D too. But we'll just assume the starbase in TNG is way bigger, I guess.
In the original script for this movie, it was supposed to be Romulans.
I knew that.
And Nimoy asked for Klingons instead, because he thought they were more cinematic and scarier. And
I guess, yeah.
The reason you would use Romulans, I would think, although I don't know this about the original script, this is not in anything I've ever read, I would assume that would be to finally reveal that Saavik is part Romulan.
Yeah.
And there was still that question and that idea going into 3.
Right.
But when they got Robin Curtis, she played it so differently, they just completely abandoned the notion that she was part Romulan.
But she was so much.
And that she had any of that
much
deceptive.
More Vulcan.
Much more Vulcan, exactly.
Exactly. And there's
Yeoman Rand?
Yeoman Rand, and she looks completely different. And she has a commander rank in this, but then it goes back to a different rank when she's in a bit part in 4, and then she's back to commander.
She's back to commander because she's the first officer on the Excelsior.
Yeah. And he's got blonde hair again.
So wait, that's the... Okay, that's the ship that Sulu takes.
Yeah.
Eventually.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
One of the many, many things that Gene Roddenberry disliked about the script before they made it and tried to get them to change, and they didn't. And there's a whole list in the 50-year mission of all the things that Roddenberry wanted to change. Not one thing. I might find the passage and read it here in a second. Not one thing. I think did they actually end up changing on his recommendation. I don't think they listened to him at all.
And I think a lot of his dislikes were just like he didn't like that he had no longer had control of these movies.
Which is
so
funny
he was
because
just trying to
throw
his weight around or whatever.
He kept saying that he didn't want to be anything but a consulting producer. I don't think that. I doubt if that's true. Yeah, I don't either.
You let your creation get taken away from you like that? I don't buy it.
But one of them...
And if that was the case, why would he become executive producer on Next Generation?
TNG, well, to be fair, part of that is because Paramount went to him and said, "We won't make the show without you."
Right.
I thought
I heard that they were saying we're going to do it without you, and he's like,
"Oh, is that what it was?"
And then I don't want to have the situation with the movie.
Is that what it was?
Yeah,
I might be remembering it incorrectly. So much turmoil and weird stuff behind the scenes on Star Trek. And also a lot of conflicting stories that it's hard to keep it all straight.
Yes. If you haven't seen Shatner's Chaos on the Bridge, it was very interesting.
I have. Yeah.
I was talking to the audience.
Sorry, excuse me. I'm sorry. You were looking right at me. But I was going to say something about something that Roddenberry didn't like, and I can't remember what it was because there's this whole list. But let me find it. I'll just tell you about a few. You guys just carry on.
Oh,
this is really creepy, Bones. Don't hang out in some dead guy's quarters.
Yeah, he's got to be wondering.
That's because he thinks that he's Spock right now. Pay attention to this story. Don't you remember what happens in the story? Anybody wondering what that tapestry is now?
That'd be awesome. Yeah, that'd be cool to know what happened to that.
But they don't have a Spencer. There's the Spencer's Gifts mirror back there. The Infinity mirror.
Yeah.
The Infinity Stone.
We could make a drinking game out of the number of times that we've said Spencer Gifts.
Spencer Gifts.
I wonder what Kirk must have been thinking, finding bones like this.
That's why I said, "What the hell are you doing?"
Well, you can see it in his face. He's like, "What the heck?"
I know.
I think that's what he's thinking.
Must
Brandon.
be crazy. Like, why don't you call for McCoy? Because it's for McCoy. Boy, that's a lot bigger than I always give it credit for being, that tapestry.
Which happens to be one of my favorite TNG episodes. Everybody on this on the cast and crew loved Robin Curtis. I'm baffled that they didn't give her anything to do in 4, given how much they liked working with her. And because they kept trying, you know, starting with Phase 2 into what turned into motion picture, into Star Trek 2, there were obviously a few notable attempts to add to the main cast, and it's weird that none of them stuck, and that they didn't try to force any of them to stick.
Right.
Because for good or bad, you would have expected somebody to have stuck around.
None of them did.
And then you get to 6, and it's Valeris instead of Saavik. And as weird as that was, I guess I'm glad we didn't throw Saavik under the bus after this movie. But if we'd kept the same actress, if it had been Kirstie Alley, it probably would have been a different story.
I think so too. But I heard that the producers wanted Kirstie Alley back to play Saavik.
They did. She was.
But she was making that Sweet Cheers money, and she's like, "I'm not."
She was. And obviously the reason she's not. I'm sorry, I thought you were going to say this. The reason she's not in this is apparently because she asked for as much money as Shatner.
She did.
Oh man, that's That's interesting. I never heard of that.
I don't mean to just talk about behind the scenes stuff. I want to talk about this movie and the story too. It is weird that Carol Marcus doesn't appear in this movie at all.
I know.
I don't like that.
I don't like that either.
Harv Bennett has a whole explanation in this for why she's not here. If memory serves, he basically just thought it would have been like kind of too many. Not cooks in the kitchen situation, but just having to deal with like too many different characters, emotions and things. Like it's not her story and whatever. And apparently when BB Bish cried when she found out she wasn't going to be in this movie, and she was really upset about it. And then she, according to Bennett anyway, she saw the movie and agreed with him that she shouldn't be in it. That is the cover of the Klingon dictionary.
It is. And then he's doing in that stock foot and that production still. One of the guys is like pointing at the other guy. I don't know why.
Yeah, it is a production. It is to be. Yeah, importantly, it is not a still taken directly from the film, but it was a production still that somebody shot right there. I'm having a hard time finding. Now, that quote.
Was BB Bish going to be in Star Trek 6? Because in the novelization of Star Trek 6, at the beginning...
I don't know that.
She is... Carol Marcus was supposedly injured in a Klingon... the attack by that cloaked Klingon ship.
Yeah.
And I think she should have been in it, because that would have given Kirk way more motivation as to why he was so...
Oh, of course, yeah, and he would have been more upset
stuff.
about it if they had been talking all this time. I just recently read the autobiography of James T. Kirk by David Goodman, and it's great, and you should read it. It's really funny, all the stuff and creative, all the stuff that he puts in that book. I'm going to review it soon. All the stuff that he puts in that book to create connective... Yeah, it just came out a couple years ago. Connective tissue between TOS episodes and the movies and stuff, but he goes into Kirk continuing to deal with Carol Marcus between the movies, and he has a connection with all that. He also makes a big deal early on during the TOS sections about how much Captain Kirk already hates Klingons.
Okay,
makes a big deal out of it.
Okay,
a lot of that is. A lot of that makes his kind of arc over his life a lot cleaner and make more sense. And obviously, it's not canonical, and it's just kind of fun to imagine what Kirk might have written about if all these things really did happen to him. I'll tell you guys a couple of really funny stories about it if you don't mind minor spoilers about that. Or okay, this first one is not a minor spoiler. So to anybody that wants to read that book, I am going to spoil something from that book.
Spoiler alert.
Star Trek V just doesn't happen.
Oh, that's good.
He canonicizes Star Trek V. Kirk goes back to the planet from Bread and Circuses, and it's now like the 90s on that planet, and Star Trek V is a movie that they go to the theater and watch. It's awesome.
That's awesome.
That's hilarious.
And one of my favorite moments in that book is during his academy days. Ben Finney walks into Kirk's quarters, and he's like an upperclassman, and they're rooming together, and Ben Finney walks in, and he's like, "What are you studying?" Kirk's cramming for a test. He's studying, and he's frustrated, and he's like, "I just can't make heads or tail of the Xindi conflict. I have no idea what was going on." And Finney's like, "Yeah, I could never figure that out. I don't know what was going on with that.
That's awesome.
It's so convoluted. I just cannot put it together." Yeah, it's great.
So here's where we get news that there's a life form down there. It's reading more than just inert matter.
Yeah. And it evolved the microbes into some things that look like ravioli, kind of.
Yeah, and you said that it's in magnetic flux, whatever that means.
Yeah, I think it's important to note that they don't go back to the planet thinking that Spock is
there. Right.
That they'll find anything but a body.
That's true.
Now, tell me if I'm remembering this incorrectly. Does Kirk go back for him because he really thinks that he can put the Katra back in him?
I think so. Once he figures out that McCoy has the Katra, when they watch the security footage that looks, got a lot of elaborate
and I guess that's what Sarek is suggesting too. Is you have to go get his body now. We have the Katra.
Right. That's why I said both men are in turmoil.
Why would she assume?
That was like-
He assumed.
No one
he
ever
said,
wears that to a convention, and somebody
That's
should
great.
totally
Oh my god,
do
we
that.
have to talk about the costumes. And I
Yeah.
love all these outfits they're wearing.
Yeah.
And by
okay.
love, do you mean they're silly, so you
No,
love them,
I
or
love
you
them.
actually
I
like
think
them?
they're good.
No, I think they're good too.
I think they're great.
Is that windbreaker there?
And
Do you
Sulu
know
has a
about
cape.
the infamous Chekhov collar at the end?
No.
Do you know about that?
No,
Okay,
I don't know
I'll
that.
I'll point it out to you if we actually are able to see it. Oh
Okay.
yeah, and Uhura's like kind of Swahili getup.
Right,
Really
it's
cool.
definitely, yeah.
What this is a thing that's mentioned also in the 50-year mission, and Robert Fletcher told me about when I interviewed him, the costume designer. When you get to sorry, I've always loved Sarek's get up here too.
I know.
All the stuff that Fletcher did for the Vulcans are great, and Fletcher claims that he never went back and looked at TOS.
Oh, really?
Yeah, and like it matches,
It matches
what we
with
did
that stuff in Amok Time.
Amok Time Fine.
Exactly.
Yeah. But anyway, apparently there's this really stupid collar that Chekhov was given because Fletcher was doing some research on like old Russian poets and stuff, and he found this outfit that he just thought was like authentic, but it just looked really bad next to everybody else, and they got rid of it, but too little too late, because there's one shot where it's still there in like a back off shot.
Okay, when they're on Vulcan?
Yeah, when they're on Vulcan at the end of the
Okay.
movie. So we'll look for it and try to see if we can find it. But something that I didn't know that's mentioned in here is apparently Nimoy got annoyed at Koenig for not telling him about it.
Oh,
For-
so
that
he
he
didn't
didn't- that he
know
didn't like
that,
it?
that he didn't
And
like it. Okay.
yeah, that he thought it was stupid. And Koenig says that making this movie, it didn't really feel like any of the actors were really allowed to speak their mind.
Right.
Because Nimoy was not unapproachable, but he had the kind of Vulcan thing. He was sort of cold, and he's just really super efficient. So he's not constantly patting you on the back and giving you praise and accolades and things. And I think that turned some people off until they realized what his style was like.
Right.
Because despite all that, Koenig said he couldn't wait to work with him again on 4.
Wow.
Huh.
I'm glad the set is more or less the same. He's still got all those guns on the wall.
Right. Exactly. Yeah, it's exactly the same.
Is it?
They did a great job. Oh, well, I don't know if
I didn't want to say that because I wasn't
Commodore
looking real.
Pet, that weird computer
Oh,
terminal is
the
back there
terminal.
now. Man, Mark Leonard aged really good.
Oh yeah, he did.
Mm-hmm.
And he looks great in TNG too.
I know.
It's nice that he can continue to play this character through time frames, being especially that, like, you know, they live for so long, and that's available to them in the universe.
He looks like he
okay,
took a
so
Valium. Look at that.
yeah, sorry. I'll talk about the Roddenberry thing in a minute. I don't
This
want
is
to
just
talk.
a great scene.
I don't want to talk over the scene with quotations.
What a shot.
Eyes are really important with mind melds.
Mm-hmm.
This is a thing we do a lot. And I agree with people that say that Search for Spock of all the TOS films is the one that feels most like a TOS movie. Or episode.
Right.
I really think that's true. I think Nimoy brought a real good sense of mystery to it.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
And that kind of atmosphere. And the kind of a strange alien quality even in the scenes that take place in more human settings, mostly because we actually deal with how alien Vulcans really are.
Right. I think the set work on this is great. People complain it's too
Some people say
stagey
it's too
and stuff,
TV.
and too TV. I know, but I like the Genesis, the way the Genesis planet look. I think they did a good. I mean, I guess they could have gotten something that looked that alien if they had gone location.
I wish they'd
and
gone on
stuff,
location for it. I think they did. I think they did the best they possibly could with it.
Right.
Being on a stage, it didn't have to be on a stage. That wasn't a mandate from the studio. That was a thing that Nimoy and Bennett did because
that's interesting.
That's what they were kind of used to doing. And then
Because then in
obviously,
4 they went sole location in that.
well,
Right.
you can't build any of that.
Right.
At that point, you have to do location,
Right.
and maybe at that point, after, I mean, it is fair if Nimoy wanted to kind of work with him what he knew it being his first big directing job,
Right.
and being kind of scared of directing himself, even though he's only in like one scene or like a couple scenes.
Right.
once he got to 4, he probably was stretching his legs a little
Right.
bit. And had he already directed 3 Men and a Baby by then?
I'm not sure when that came out.
But I mean, and he had done some TV and stuff. Like,
Right.
he was starting to really find his own
I
as a
think
director.
3 Men and a Baby came out the year after 4. I think it came out in 87.
This is really interesting that we have file footage from the ship,
And it
sensor log data,
Looks just like what we were
Yes.
saying.
and
Yeah.
it's what we're watching. It's like
Which
they're
is-
playing the
I'm pretty
movie.
sure they do that in other parts of Star Trek. Well, they obviously do it in 4
Uh-huh.
with the
Well,
thing
we
of the
did it in
Klingons
TOS
exploding.
all
They
the
did it
time.
on yes.
Yeah, I mean, this
And
is
why
really
is the
funny.
camera
He's
cut
just,
and
yeah,
pan?
it's cutting back and forth. He's just watching the film.
Yeah.
It's great.
It's like that scene in Spaceballs.
Yeah, when they get the movie. Yeah,
Yeah, more like movie projector screening.
yeah.
Now,
Oh,
you'd have
yes,
to-
it looks like the kinescope.
You'd have to think too
Yeah.
hard about it. And at that point, you might as well have just had, like, it would have been better if you just had the forethought to actually shoot it like it's,
Right.
like there are cameras placed there, like it's surveillance footage.
Right.
But one thing you could
Augment.
say is just, well, there are micro cameras everywhere on the
Right.
ship, and if we put the right parameters in, it will cut in the places where it needs to follow a person doing a thing.
Right.
Yes, that I could buy.
We're sort of like a holodeck where it's
Right.
like you
And I
recreate these events that pertain to this person when
Right.
this thing happened.
But I don't want to trash on it too much because I mean it would have been too much of a work to go
No, but it
back
takes
and
you out a little
reshoot.
bit.
It does take you
It is
out.
kind of funny. It's worse on a view screen. It's worse.
Necessary.
It's worse in something like what is it? I think maybe the first appearance of the Ferengi Last Outpost, where you're looking at a view screen and we like pan across it. It might not have been that episode, I forget where it was, but every now and again you'll do that in TNG
Yes.
where you'll be on a view screen and there's like a pan shot.
Yes. Well,
That's a weird looking
the
ship.
TNG, they were trying. The whole concept of that view screen in TNG was it was supposed to be like a 3D hologram thing.
Yeah.
So that's why they show different angles. It'll be like the side
Huh.
of their face and stuff.
I gotcha.
And that whole thing was weird too, because his face was like
So
giant. in
let me
that.
read an excerpt from 50-Year Mission, if I may.
Okay.
This is not a direct quote from Roddenberry. This is Altman and Gross paraphrasing some things that Roddenberry had complained about when he
Okay.
first looked at the script. Among the concerns he delineates are Saavik acting out of character, an emphasis on drunkenness, the lack of viability for the massive space dock, the 20th century concept of
What?
the Enterprise being considered obsolete, which is preposterous.
I mean, things wear out even in the future.
Yeah, I mean, you
It's a
can
machine.
tell why people had such a hard time working on TNG because
Right.
like any
He kind of.
half the things you'd think to put in that show, he goes, oh well, it's the future, we don't have that problem anymore, and then you just throw your hands in the air and you go, how can we have
Yeah.
any kind of conflict and have any problems at all?
I think he really started to lose his mind.
No, he
in
did.
the 70s.
Let me finish. The automation of the starship that does not necessitate the use of a large crew, and the idea
But that broke. I mean, it didn't really work when they.
and the idea that the Genesis, but yeah, that's a larger Star Trek problem. I
Right.
think. And the idea that the Genesis planet,
Never needed a crew before.
and the idea that the Genesis planet is off limits, feeling it comes off like political foolishness seen in our 20th century now.
No,
What is he
that's
talking
not,
about?
It could be a dangerous planet. It's a brand new planet.
And-
they made a planet. Who knows what it is?
Yeah,
I know.
well, that's why it's captain's discretion.
Right.
I know there's a lot of, as we've talked a lot
Jurassic World.
about before, Adam,
It's the lost
Roddenberry kind of buying his own press.
Oh, yeah.
But he wrote The Cage.
I know. the death. The death.
That's the
penalty.
only thing
one
you
on
get
the
a
books.
death penalty
The
for is
only one on
going
the
to
books.
that planet.
Oh, this outfit's great. I'm glad they brought it back for 4.
Yeah, it's cool, and I like the placement of the insignia on the Admiral's uniform too.
Yes, it's great.
That's some sort of casual velour suit.
That's velour. It is velour.
Yeah.
That's his bomber jacket, is what they call it. I
Yeah.
think in the
And his
Star Trek
undershirt also
Encyclopedia.
has a little bit of that seashell look, but it looks
It
better
does.
on a person than it does on a chair.
On a
So
chair.
kind of like what a flyboy might wear coming out of his.
Yeah, that's what it was supposed to be called back to. Yeah, and Scotty wears that same jacket throughout Star Trek 4.
I was talking to a friend of mine, actually my current roommate, at one point. This was a few years ago. He said that there's a subgenre of like costume design where it's like the past of the future. So like when you're doing like you're in the future, but you have to understand what the past of that future would look like, still make it look retro even though it's in your future.
Yeah.
This is kind of like what they're doing with that in a way.
I think that's absolutely right. Yeah.
And it is such a cool thing because you're like, wow, that's retro, but it's still far forward in my own future. That's the type of thing that I love in costume design.
They also thought that we'd never get past those handlebar mustaches by...
I know. In this place, it looks like a Hilton in the...
Yes, it does. Those lights on the wall.
Somebody's leaving the light on for you.
That's the red roof. Motel 6. Motel 6.
I'm aware.
Look at
Don't know what that alien is.
I know.
Oh, that guy is.
Oh my god! And on the
don't know what that is.
On the the album
those are
liner notes. For
those are like 6-bit biplanes.
They were.
There's some tribbles
on the liner notes for the Star Trek: The Motion Picture soundtrack on vinyl.
Hey, look, it's Lando.
They got like all of the aliens that appear in like the.
He's even wearing a light blue shirt like Lando.
I know.
It's just Lando right there. And she looks like she comes out of Return of Captain Invincible.
I thought that lady was a grandma when I was a kid. I swear. I thought that's what she was supposed to be, like, really old.
Somebody should call her handsome and then see if they get a drink thrown in their face at him.
That's Spencer's gift right there.
Yes, it is. Absolutely it is. Remember this guy?
He's got porcupine quills in his face.
He looks like, he looks like one of those undersea fishes that's got the real fine fins with the dots on it. You know what I'm talking about? They live at the very bottom and they crawl into the sand.
A flounder.
Not a flounder.
Yeah,
no, I'm talking one deep sea fish.
He also looks like he inspired Waterworld.
Yes.
Yeah.
And he gets...
To Roddenberry's complaint, I wanted to mention this about the idea that this is bureaucratic stuff that we wouldn't have to deal with in the future. Keep in mind that whether you think that it's retroactive and doesn't really make sense, or just is too retroactive or not, the issue is you would maybe have more bureaucracy if you were dealing with somebody who went too far in breaking the rules in creating something that defies nature, and then the question becomes, okay, do we let everyone know about it and risk destroying it's sort of that like lie about Harvey Dent question at the end of Dark Knight, right? It's like the movie doesn't get into this, but I'm just saying that so I'm not trying to read farther into what the movie is doing, but I'm just saying that against Roddenberry's point, I think that it's only logical that a government is gonna have to kind of play that with kid gloves. Right. You're not going to let anybody go to that planet.
And they would have.
And also, it's probably really dangerous too.
Right. I don't know if they did it or not, but is
it a cover-up? Nobody ever talks about Genesis again.
They would have to declassify the whole project.
And is he saying that in the future we don't classify and declassify things? No. I mean, it is still a partial military.
He would have been so mad if he had lived to see Section 31.
Oh, of course he would.
Oh my God, he would have hated that.
Well, the thing is, Sarah and I years ago did a Trexperts about that. And we said, is Deep Space Nine, maybe we said specifically Section 31, against Roddenberry's initial vision? Right. He would say yes. I would say no. It's not against the vision, it's against what the guy became.
He would have said no in the 60s, but he would have said yes in the 80s.
That's exactly right.
That was really interesting. He just attempted to perform a Vulcan nerve pinch.
The only human that I know that can do it is Jean-Luc Picard.
Right. But did he attempt to do it as McCoy, or did he attempt to do it as Spock?
I think they're like both one.
I think so too.
Both in there, yeah.
And I think that's what was really interesting about that.
I like the desert becoming the.
But Brandon, I don't think there's any question. I don't think there's a mystery about that. I mean,
no, certainly not. But I just thought it was really cool the way he played that as the actor. Yeah. I thought it was a really interesting portrayal.
I think part of the not that anybody made this argument. In literature I've read.
Yeah,
he's got a trucker hat on.
Now the security uniforms are kind of silly.
Let me make this point real quick. In with the regards to using sound stages as opposed to going on location, they do deal with different environments.
Right. And they just
and it might have actually been more expensive to go to all those different places.
Right. And they wouldn't have been able to do the snow and the desert thing very easily.
You would have to create some snow.
Right.
Oh boy. The reveal.
How many fingers am I holding up is one of the funniest things in Star Trek.
And I love Don't Call Me Tiny, too.
Yeah.
Oh my god, the cape.
So, it's interesting... Yeah,
have you ever seen anybody cosplay
yes.
this?
George Takei's...
and that's a great suit. I like it a lot. So, it's interesting that it's Sulu doing this part of this mission, because another thing about the original script is that originally Kirk is off doing something else, and it's Sulu spearheading all of this.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Huh. And Shatner, as you might expect, complained that he wasn't in enough of the movie, and he kept trying to insert himself in scenes where it would make no sense for him to be. The scene we just saw with
what was
with
that
McCoy
thing?
and Kirk.
It's supposed to be a phaser.
It's a phaser. But yeah, those are really hokey looking.
I know.
And the helmets with no, I'm talking about the security outfits that you were complaining about. The helmets, or maybe those are even different ones, but they look like something out of Flash Gordon.
I know.
And they've got I love Fletcher. I don't mean to make fun of him. I think in another science fiction thing that makes sense, but he wasn't looking at Star Trek apart from the Star Treks he'd worked on. So,
right.
But anyway, what was I talking about? Sulu's outfit. Okay. So the scene before that, with McCoy and Kirk, or excuse me, with McCoy and no, that is McCoy and Kirk.
Yeah.
What am I talking about? There's a scene somewhere with McCoy and someone else where he thought Kirk should be there.
Huh.
I'm forgetting what it is now.
Was it when he was at the bar? Is that
maybe that's where it was? I'm not. No, I forget now.
I never understood why they couldn't bring her with them. I mean, they established in the previous movie that they can set a transporter to automatically beam. Except when they beam down to the Genesis cave. So I don't understand why her has to stay behind.
At least you don't have her constantly hailing them.
That's true.
When they get over there. Enterprise to Reliant.
Oh my god, look at this.
Shut up!
Look at that jacket. I want Kirk's jacket.
No, the wardrobe in this is amazing. Besides the couple things that we're making fun of.
This guy's hair is terrible, though.
No destination orders. This kid's by the book. Yes. Rank and file.
You gotta sit in the closet.
That hair is just a little much.
It's Lego hair.
It is Lego hair.
It is. He's the Lego man. Lego man.
It's just perfect. He had that steamed all day.
Never thought you'd see the live embodiment of Emmett from the Lego movie, but there it is.
There
30 years before that film.
Well, further than that, going on.
No.
Why do they have a closet
30?
in the transporter room?
This was 83. The Lego movie came out just a few years ago.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
It's more than 30.
No, it's not.
Huh?
Lego movie was 2013, 2014, and this is 83.
So that's 30 years.
Right. That's what I said.
I thought you said 20.
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Well, there
I don't know what we're arguing about right now.
Caution. Caution. Don't get made into the pig lizard from Galaxy Quest.
yeah.
You gotta work on that. Work on that one.
Watch for Garignac.
Garignac. All the screens are in screensaver mode right now.
Let's try that. Let's test that theory.
How big is the universe?
Is that the collar?
That's the collar!
That's terrible. Oh my gosh.
I thought it was at the end. When it cuts back, is he still wearing it?
Yes.
Yes. Oh no, it's in way more of the movie than
Oh god,
that later. Oh yeah, no, he looks like
I've never noticed that.
He looks like a Puritan.
He looks like he's about to be burned at the stake as a witch.
I never noticed it, and now I'm never not going to be able to.
Yeah, exactly.
Thank you for that.
I'm not going to never notice his collar too. It's
I love his collar.
Well, it's great.
Flip it up like that. That's great.
So we haven't talked a lot about ideas and story and theme with this movie. Obviously, this is all about family and friendship and what it. How far you should go for your friend.
Mm-hmm.
I like that the movie never really definitively tells us if it's on board with Kirk. We're really allowed to make our own minds up about that, where he is the hero of this story, but there are consequences to everything he does. Now, when you get to 4, you can argue that the consequences should have been bigger, but he did just save the planet, so they're able to kind of get away with that.
Right. And I think they would have been bigger.
They would. No, they certainly would have been bigger. Right. I mean, remember, they were on their way to Earth to get thrown in a penal colony.
Right, and that's what,
but that's the thing I really like. Like Spock makes his case in Wrath of Khan.
Right.
This as an extension of Wrath of Khan, it's really good in continuing or creating an argument about what Spock's sacrifice was about in the first movie.
Right.
But it also makes a case for it not being just an extension. In the first movie, that movie is squarely, at least from Spock's perspective, it's the needs of the many really do outweigh the needs of the few or the one.
Right.
In Search for Spock,
but
does it?
Right, exactly. That's what. There's Miguel Ferrer.
I like this bridge.
Role.
It's a big, wide bridge.
I know. I think they only made half of it. I think that's why you only see it.
It looks but it's so big. It looks like a space station bridge.
It's huge, and then it's weird because it looks like it's just the Enterprise bridge and the.
That guy gets some really dramatic arc in a book somewhere.
Really?
Or something.
Commander
I'm just
Captain
saying,
Styles or whatever his name is.
Yeah.
There's nobody there. Why is there nobody there?
We do stuff with Morgan Bateson in the novels.
It's the night shift.
Captain Fraser.
Yeah.
They're not expecting anybody. Nobody's going anywhere. It's the night shift.
Bateson shows up in the Captain Kirk autobiography.
Oh, really?
It's great. Yeah, Bateson, according to that book, is Kirk's first Yeoman on the Enterprise.
Oh.
Space Doors.
It's great.
What do you think about that
Dude, you gotta read it. I think you'd love it.
Did you know that they wanted Saavik to appear on the bridge, but it wasn't going to work as far as the timeline? As she was going to be on the Bozeman Bridge, and they wanted it to be Kirstie Alley.
Oh, yeah, you couldn't do it.
Yeah. That's just a Cheers joke.
That's sad. No, that would have been really fun, though. But no, you couldn't do it.
Yeah.
Look, the Enterprise is backing up right now. They could have turned around in that vast cavern.
But you know what they could have done?
What's that?
They could, and not that anybody would notice necessarily, but it would be fun for the people that did. Mm-hmm. You could bring back Phil Norris. You could have put him on the bridge.
That's true.
That would have been cool. This all looks really good.
It does.
This looks amazing, as a matter of fact.
This is ILM again.
Yeah.
Did all this.
Just for reference, just as for anybody.
Oh, look out! Look out! You're gonna run into this. Look out! Oh. That's a perspective issue. Okay.
He's still holding that thing.
The Excelsior
what is
class
that
ship?
thing that he's holding?
Hold on. What's that, Brandon?
The Excelsior class ship is one of my favorite ship designs. That, along with the Miranda.
I don't know, it looked like a scalpel or something.
I know.
Adam, it looked like a dermal regenerator.
I know. And he was holding it when he got on the turbo shaft.
It seems like it's some sort of baton.
In engineering, and was holding it when he was filing his nails. I think I don't know what it is.
Yeah, he's been holding it through several scenes.
Maybe he's a superhero.
So,
it's like his
screwdriver.
It's like his Infinity Gauntlet or something.
Kirk needs more screen time with David, and I think
a
lot of why this movie didn't emotionally resonate the way it ought to have is because his reaction to David's death and everything he does after that happens, it just doesn't feel like that's what it's about enough.
Right. It doesn't have enough weight.
Yeah.
Here we go. Best sound effect in Star Trek.
Oh, it's preposterous.
It's preposterous, Brandon.
I think he's being facetious.
Maximum velocity in 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Yeah, it's not a diesel engine. It's not going to sound like that.
Look at that.
It
that
sputters.
Like the tracking needed to be adjusted on that.
Now that is a thing Roddenberry complained about that I agree with him on.
Yeah.
That the way Scotty is able to take out the Excelsior is too easy.
Yeah, it's true. He's like two chips, and the whole thing breaks.
Everyone not laughing at that.
I know.
And that's a thing that Nimoy and Bennett say that they were concerned about as they were putting certain things in, where they were like, no, we did it this way so that people, I don't mean that specifically, but there were a couple places where we did it like this so that there wouldn't be some kid that would be cracking up in the audience and ruin the whole thing, like when Kirk at the end, or toward the end when he finds out that David dies, gets upset and drops to his knees. I'm sorry, some people do laugh at that moment.
I know, and that was actually an accident. I think he actually tripped, and they left it, and they kept rolling.
Yeah, the way Nimoy told it, it was more like he didn't mean for it to happen, but he was like in such turmoil in the performance that it caused him to drop. Not that he actually like was clumsy.
Okay. So he was
it was such a powerful performance.
He was just in the scene or whatever.
When I show this with a crowd, there's inevitably at least one person that laughs at that scene.
Yeah.
Maybe they have no soul.
I got in trouble for saying Klingon bastards.
You can't say that on Geekvolution either. You can't. No, I'm kidding. So it was in a context of the movie. It's okay. No, I'm kidding. It's all right.
Oh, this poor kid had to film this scene, all this ice.
Yeah.
Of cornflakes.
Cornflake ice.
No. So he's accelerated humanoid growth life form then.
Yes, just like that tentacle thing they find by the torpedo tube.
So that was supposed to be Vulcan.
How many different actors did
Well, we've had some Vulcan already. For a motion picture gives us some.
Does it really?
Yeah, it sure does.
Did it?
Yes, but this time...
I don't remember.
And in Star Trek too.
Oh yeah, that's right.
But this time I feel like they actually came up with something. It's not just they tried to dub over English dialogue, which is what they did.
Oh, that's right.
No, they had Okran come up with some language,
lines.
but I think he already had.
Okay.
I don't know. I don't know if
well,
I'm
he
right
did
about
for the fill in those two scenes, I think. How many different actors did they get to play Spock?
Three? A good look. She stole that scene.
Yeah. This is going to sound really dumb, but I think part of what I like about Curtis is just that the Vulcan looks better on her than it did Kirstie Alley. Yeah.
I was going to ask you who you like better.
The eyebrows, I think they're two different characters.
They kind of are, aren't
they?
The
problem with Kirstie Alley is I'm like, that's Kirstie Alley the whole time now because
also with the way you're
pronouncing the stuff she did
that.
subsequently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
With Cheers and stuff. But the thing is, she's playing it with, again, a certain degree of mystery, and she's not fully Vulcan. She's allowing her emotions to come out, and there's something about her background that we don't know. Like that, that is a character that is begging to be a regular in a TV show and would have a fascinating backstory and history. Robin Curtis is just doing a really good female Spock impression, and it's working. Like, I'm not even saying she's ripping anything off. She just, in fact, I'd go this far. I would put her in probably my top 3 or 5 actors that have played Vulcans, where I buy that they have purged their emotion, or that they're able to bury their emotion.
Right. Do you buy that would be blown up like that in one shot?
I don't know what he's firing out of his torpedo. Maybe he has subspace weapons.
I know.
He's got Gowron eyes before Gowron.
Oh!
Well, that's unfortunate. That still looks pretty cool.
That looked cool. Is this...
I remember that. I remember that
now
word.
they're speaking English.
That means animal.
Is that the same weapon that appeared in TNG where they build that weapon?
Oh, do you mean...
The 2 Klingons build that weapon when they're running on the Enterprise and... They get killed.
Yeah. I think the disruptors are the same. Is that what we're talking about?
I think it's the same one.
The prop, but the front end is different. It looks like a crystal
I didn't know that.
Later.
Okay.
Grissom is a good piece of trivia. I don't think in 15 years of answering of making up Star Trek trivia I ever asked that question.
Yeah.
How did she just surmise it was an attack?
Because they couldn't get him on the thing.
Yeah, that just automatically they must have been destroyed. Not like maybe there's some magnetic interference or.
I don't know.
So, this might be an unanswerable question, or you might think this is kind of a pointless and maybe even disingenuous question. Do you buy that every member of our main crew would agree to put their careers at risk to go get Spock and maybe be able to put his Katra back in his head? Or just, in loyalty to Kirk? Or, Is it just that, easy token, this is our family, so we keep the family together thing?
I kind of buy them going with Kirk.
I buy them going with Kirk, I think, because they've established everything. This crew, to their relationship, I guess.
The autobiography makes a big deal out of they're continuing to pass up opportunities for advancement to stay on the Enterprise.
So that explains why there's like 3 commanders.
Yes.
On the
and that they just want to stay together as a family. And all these sacrifices they make in order to do that. Yeah.
But that's what the flagship crew usually does. They feel like they've made it, and they do forge a bond. And
it's important to note, however, that the flagship notion we don't get until TNG.
Right.
Enterprise is just another
ship.
ship.
The Enterprise is just one of the Constitution class ships.
All right.
It becomes more flagshipy in that Kirk is the most famous captain who has made the most stuff happen for Starfleet.
That may be why the Enterprise became...
And I imagine that's probably true. But I don't know if... I don't know even if B or C were. It might not have been considered that. I don't even know if the flagship notion existed until we got the team.
Right. Wasn't it C that got lost to time?
Yeah, it was.
Okay.
Yes. But I'm just saying that while it was around, I don't know if that was considered the flagship.
Yeah, it may not have been the flagship.
I love that cape thing that Kruge is wearing.
But NX-01 confuses things because it feels like the most important ship that we have, just because it's going on deep space exploration.
Yeah.
It's not the first ship, but it's the first one that goes out in deep space and NX class, right?
That thing's cool. Whoa!
It's swinging at him.
He is... Christopher Lloyd's Kruge is badass, man.
He just kills the things. He's like, darn!
He doesn't even care that it's a brand new life form. It's not what we're looking for. It's dead to me.
Nothing happened.
That was self-defense.
It attacked me.
It did.
Klingons don't need that defense.
Christopher Lloyd is the last big... I mean, there's some other minor characters that I wouldn't mind having autographs from on my batleth if I had enough space.
Yeah.
Christopher Lloyd's the last real big one.
Does he do many conventions or anything?
He's done the Las Vegas one.
Okay.
More than once, I think. I think he was at the 50th, too, and I wish I'd been able to make that.
Okay.
I haven't been to a straight-up Star Trek convention in a long time, and we don't have as many as we used to.
Right.
They're more often, they're just general sci-fi conventions. And I think the comic book convention is kind of taken over, where it's just a hodgepodge of everything. So there's a comic side, and then there's a...
genre side,
there's a licensed, not licensed, but you know what I mean. A side with there's a celebrity side.
Right.
Is what I'm trying to say. Is that the same kid from before, or is he now a different kid?
I think that's the same kid. I don't know.
I think the bigger question is, did these kids ever go on to do other things in bigger spotlights?
I've never heard any of the Star Treks. Anybody's like, funny trivia. This guy was this was Spock number 2 in Star Trek 3, The Search for Spock.
And he played a dead guy in this episode of CSI. You never saw his face.
He's the drummer for Disturbed.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, they could have gone into something else and let's talk
about their relationship.
He's a brain surgeon.
And how in the...
he's now a senator from Oklahoma.
Let's talk about the relationship between these two characters and how in the novelization...
They were meant to actually be lovers, and she's just doing him a favor. It feels more, or he's just doing her a favor. It feels more.
Why did they change it?
I'm sorry. She's doing him a favor, but they were, but she was actually supposed to be with Marcus, and I think it feels like when I read behind the scenes literature on this, some of the producers and people involved think that comes out in the movie, and it doesn't.
Not really.
Can I ask a technical question I just thought of? Spock is aging really fast.
He sure is.
Why does he slow down and stop right where he should be?
Because the movie demands that
Do they explain it, or is this just a...
Because they leave the Genesis planet. Maybe it's that.
Yeah,
maybe
it's because they leave the Genesis planet, Brandon.
Right
that's what I always
that makes
assume.
sense.
No, it's a question I've had
that
too.
makes sense.
But
that needs to be explored then.
No, I don't.
Genesis,
I disagree because I think there actually is enough in the more I'm remembering, the more I'm thinking about it. I'm remembering this now. We make a big deal out of his being tied to the evolution of the planet.
Right.
Okay.
As the planet is...
Savick says that. He was like, he's unstable like this planet.
Like this planet.
Right.
He's maturing at that fast rate because the planet is maturing too quickly and then is going to die. And remember, if we don't get him off this planet, we don't reverse what's happening to the planet, he will die.
So Genesis is unstable.
Yeah, and he's directly connected to it. He's like a part of Genesis.
That's right.
That's why that's happening.
I remember that. So how do you feel about that theme in this movie?
What do you mean?
Just that theme in general. You were talking about themes earlier, and the theme of the interconnected with the the planet versus rebirth and the renewal of the friendship.
Yeah, I mean, how are you reading that thematically? Like,
well, just as part of Spock's storyline, I don't know it's necessarily thematics just so much as it's moving the story along.
Yeah.
What about to happen here is illegal in 32 states?
That's hilarious.
That's pretty funny.
No, there's an interesting identity question here, I guess, where you have what is essentially an animal without a soul that gets his soul back.
Yes.
And the question is if he was taken off the place. So, like, so to answer your question, Brandon, the interesting thing about that for my money is that until we give him his Contra back, he's kind of just a Neanderthal, and that word is used in the behind the scenes literature, in the supplementary stuff in 50-Year Mission, in other things I've read. So if he was taken off without the Contra, the question is he a lower life form? Is he just an animal without self-awareness? Right. Or is that just an assumption we're making? And you actually gave a Contra to a guy that had one already?
Right.
Did we layer Spock on top of another Spock? Right. Because when we look at this scene, he doesn't look like a Neanderthal to me.
No, he doesn't. And you make a great point based on something I tried to ask, that I asked earlier, in that if he's restructured, it might look like Spock, but it's not Spock.
It's not Spock. It's a different guy.
It's a different guy.
Person. He just aged really fast.
Oh, man.
It's very much like in a lot of comic book and science fiction things where you clone someone and they're a different person. It's that Thomas Riker thing. The difference is we take the literal embodiment of Spock and we layer it back on top of this guy. We never really do anything with that. However, 4 and beyond, he's not exactly the same person. Like once we get into 6, it feels more or less like he's gotten to where he might have been.
Right.
If we got him all the way there. I love how he's still like acclimating to friendship and to humanity and everything in Star Trek 4.
Exactly.
And it maybe works out too fast, or I should say, by the time we get to 5, he's just there already, right? We don't really see all that happen. Like by the end of 4, he's learned a lot. There's a character arc there, but he's still not the Spock we had in Star Trek 2, right? He is in 6.
Right.
By 6, he's very much that same guy
again. Back to what he was.
But that you would expect that kind of growing pains period, and also. Some of it's a choice he makes where he's just trying to embrace the full Vulcan thing because because he doesn't have. I mean, I guess he still has all those experiences. He has all of his memories.
Right.
But I guess he's just not remembering it the same way, or just the experiences he's gone to have changed him.
Right.
I would still expect all of that, even if you didn't merge him with this other guy named Spock that the movie pretends is in Neanderthal, but isn't. I don't think, because he sure doesn't seem like he is.
Right. He's making normal there.
She's making an assumption, and she continues with that assumption.
Hmm. He doesn't seem all instinct to me.
No.
And it seems like the movie is going out of its way to say that he's not just an animal.
Oh man, look at that choker thing he's wearing.
That would be a factual statement, except I think that the planet killer, the Doomsday Machine may have been the most destructive thing ever created.
If it was created. The problem is we don't know the origin of the Doomsday Machine.
That's the word I was focusing on too.
Also, you don't know if he knows about the Doomsday Machine.
That's true. And I like that he said created.
I just noticed that they have a cool
anytime anybody says that, it's just based on their own knowledge. He could be ignorant of other things that we've seen that are more destructive.
Did you ever notice that? They have like a cool waterfall on the set there behind them. I'd never seen that before.
It's cool. And to be fair, that looks as much like it's on location as it possibly could be on a soundstage. It's not bad.
Is the thing that is his pet, is that supposed to be a targ, or what is it? Okay. I know, but the targ in Next Generation is just a pig with
I'm gonna go back and double check, because at one time I knew for sure if they thought that was a targ.
Okay.
Or if they had decided that was a targ. Yeah.
From youth.
Yeah, no, it's just a thing.
It's collar's gone. You're wondering if it disappeared.
That's why it's not a confirmed thing.
Okay.
That's just one of those fan theory things. Maybe it's Targ, maybe it's not. I like the idea that that's a full that's a fully grown Targ, and that we've never seen one that big because we always eat them too quickly. Because heart of Targ is a delicacy.
Yes, they're their pets and their food. It's weird.
No, it's not. For Klingons, that
but
makes
I guess
perfect
for
sense.
Klingons, it's his eyes are great.
I like the
command.
Yeah, he looks a little bit unsure of himself. There are places where Christopher Lloyd cannot decide if he's playing a Klingon or a Batman villain, and I love it.
See the shimmer?
Yeah.
It looks like a magic eye.
Am I wrong about this? This is the first time that the Klingons have a cloaked ship, right?
Yeah. It's the first time that it's shown, yeah.
Because again, the autobiography that I was talking about earlier with Kirk makes a big deal out of that, and because we don't really talk about where they got it in this.
Do they have them in Enterprise?
Wouldn't
I think so?
So that's one of those retcon things.
Yeah, and like they have them in Discovery now, and
I don't talk about that.
Yeah, no, I know.
Don't the doesn't Red Alert activate shields? He just said no shields. They're waiting for them to fire.
I don't think they.
He might have turned them off on
He
purpose.
might have turned them off.
Maybe.
There it is. That's a great model.
I mean, yeah, that was just him being more specific about his order because he was calling a bluff.
Yeah.
No, he didn't want them to know that they knew they were there.
Right.
Got it.
No.
That makes sense. Oh, your animal died. Your supposed Targ.
Probably Targ.
Oh no.
That's so sad.
His tongue.
But no, I like the idea that and like this is not a thing we've ever said in Star Trek, but what I want it to be, Adam, is that we think of our pets like warriors also, where when they've outlived their usefulness and they can no longer serve their function, that's when we eat them.
Right. Bach. It sounds like he said a bad word.
Bach means fire. Johann Sebastian Fire.
I love how like they shoot them to cell and the bridge blows power circuits.
It's a surge going
I
everywhere.
like the lighting for emergency power. I always thought this looked really cool.
Whoa!
Oh yeah, that didn't shock anybody. That should have the EPS conduit should have just blown off his hand and his remaining fingers. Sorry.
Watch out for plasma conduits! They're exploring!
Yeah, it just started.
There was a fire.
There's a fire.
There's no fire suppression
on the console.
System. Yeah.
No one's putting it out.
The fire suppression system hasn't done anything.
Lady finger things underneath.
Well, and I don't know if they have a fire suppression system this far back. If you remember, sometimes we just have a
guy with an extinguisher.
We just have an extinguisher on the wall. We can break it up.
Yeah,
an extinguisher, but not a suppression system. Yes. Not like sprinklers
I think
or
it's just
something from the ceiling. They just have an extinguisher.
Because in Wrath of Khan,
that's what I'm saying.
That lady's in the background going.
Well, I think there's a place in that movie or somewhere else where you actually see a fire extinguisher on the wall.
You do. It's hanging on the bridge.
We might have even brought that up in our last commentary.
Yeah.
I forget.
Or I'll use Corbomite.
Yeah, he should have used that bluff.
She used the Corbomite bluff again.
He trusts his instincts.
Yes. Your opponent.
What I like, one of the things I really like about Lloyd is that he seems like a classic TOS Klingon.
He does.
To me.
Yes.
Yes.
That's why I buy him as a Klingon.
He's got like a core thing going on.
He does.
I almost said that earlier because I feel like he's a bridge between the next gen Klingons.
Yes.
He is the ultimate bridge there.
I think he is.
Do you think that this mission of his is sanctioned by the Klingon government?
No, it's not.
It's not. He makes a specific statement.
They talk about that, if memory serves. Yeah.
About how he's going there.
No, he's going rogue. He wants Genesis.
He's like Claw.
He's gonna bring. I mean, I think he wants to bring it back to his people. I don't think he's.
Yeah, he wants to come home a hero.
Right.
Yeah, I don't think he's like a psychopath, like dominate the universe all by myself,
Right.
kind of guy. But
Oh, here's the they really didn't get enough time before this comes up. They didn't get any time.
no, I don't care about these characters in this movie.
Yeah.
It's unfortunate, and they think that what she does for Spock is enough,
Right.
And also there is not anything like enough discussion about what it's supposed to be. Like I was talking about earlier before we started the commentary proper, that Marcus is being is being punished by the universe for his hubris,
Right.
and we don't. Like we know that he added the protomatter and whatever, but it's kind of a throwaway line. We don't spend enough time on it. You need that moment. Well, you can't really have it with McCoy because of what McCoy is going through in this movie. But in another movie, you'd have a similar scene that you did in Wrath of Khan, where McCoy's talking about the morality of it. It's like, see, I told you. Like of course it's not about work. Of course we're cutting corners and we don't have the sense of responsibility that we need to. In order for this to be just natural progress as opposed to playing God. We don't talk about that, and furthermore, that's why Carol Marcus should be here. Because I don't know if he did that by himself or if they did it together. There's no talk about it, I don't think. I don't think she even comes up in this movie.
I use Protomatter. That's
Does
all
she ever come up?
No.
I mean, if you hadn't seen Wrath of Khan, you wouldn't even know about her.
Right. How come they...
If memory serves.
Whenever they show the Doc Tog again,
knife,
they never show the thing flipping up like that. It's so cool, but you never see it after this. It's always out.
Is it always out already?
Yeah, it's always out already.
Okay. The toy does it.
That's cool.
The
That's
toy
pretty cool.
I used to have that. It broke on me at one point. I gotta get another one. We used it as a prop on the set of Spawn Year for a long time.
I like their communicators.
Fictional Captain Logan considers committing suicide with a Tog knife. With a plastic Tog knife.
Seppuku.
It's great, yes. Mm-hmm. Right. Kari.
Look at that chair.
There's a seashell.
That's the scene.
Oh, it's a seashell. He might as well have a trident.
But yeah, this is the bit where he drops.
Yeah.
And some people do think this is kind of funny. Personally, I think it's pretty effective. It's just that I think you have to be real familiar with how Shatner plays this role.
Mm. What if he'd gone, Kruge?
No, he has that moment later with "I've had enough of you."
Yes, that's true. He does.
All right.
And remember, the Khan yell is a fake out.
Damn you.
It's always important to remember that the Khan yell is a fake out.
That's true.
He's just acting.
that is the actor and the character acting.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Oh. Okay.
I've always loved that. Wow.
2 minutes.
He's real reasonable.
Well,
I
wonder
Klingon.
why did so many of these guys in the 80s have such bad hair pieces? He had a bad hairpiece. Burt Reynolds had a bad hairpiece. Ted Danson had a bad
I think it's because hairpieces were just bad.
I think they were bad back then, I guess. I don't know.
Yeah, they were. They didn't have the technology.
We have better technology for hairpieces now.
So is his face supposed to be bruised, or is it just soot?
Yeah, just keep in mind
I don't know.
that Picard almost had a bad hairpiece, too.
That would have been bad.
Yes, it would have.
Yes.
Thank God.
In the future, they just don't care about bald people. That's the better excuse. So much better.
I feel like later Birds of Prey have way more crew members.
And then
certainly.
there's
Or
like
are they
supposedly
bigger?
different sizes. There's like
Okay.
the Cavort
Isn't
one.
there like
All
the
sort of look the
L
same so that
one.
we can use the same
I
models.
know, and they use the same model, and they're a different scale.
No, I
and
forgot about
stuff
the
Yeah,
like
that
the
doesn't make
Cavort,
any
and
sense
you
to
have
me.
the Vorcha.
Yeah.
Those are the two I can think of.
1 minute. I love that the code for the self-destruct is the same code from.
It's a nice bit of continuity.
Yeah.
Yeah. What is that episode?
It's the one
I
with
know it. I
Loki.
can't think of it. Let that be your last battlefield. That's what it is. All your people are white on the right
I
side.
timed this. It's longer than a minute.
Yes. Yes, it is.
I did it.
Yeah, but when you're cutting footage, it's not necessarily in real time.
Right.
Except you would expect it to be shorter, not longer.
Right, but no, but just when he starts the countdown.
Okay.
For it's longer than from when the countdown starts at 60 seconds to when it blows up. It's like 2 minutes.
Well, I know, but like we're cutting to different things.
Right.
So yeah, like I said, it's not an episode of 24.
Right, but it would have been like you said, it should have been shorter, not longer.
Right, unless we're cutting to some things that are happening simultaneously.
Yeah.
I'm playing devil's advocate. I have also always made fun of that sort of thing.
So it requires 3 officers for this Enterprise.
And if Janeway does it, it's like one thing.
Yeah, when Picard does it, it requires 2 people.
Yeah, every ship it's different.
Yeah.
This is
0.
my favorite bit of score in this movie.
0.
I really like
I
like the suspense in the scene quite a bit.
All right, we're fast approaching.
This is some really nice string
We're
work.
fast approaching Sarah's favorite moment.
He told him he had 1 minute
Sarah,
ago, about a minute and a half
my
ago.
wife lives for this scene.
There's the.
I almost want to call her down right now. Is it about to?
It's about to happen.
Is it about to happen?
About
There's
to
no way
happen.
I have time to get her down.
Run, Sarah.
Now.
Yeah, is he about to say get out of there?
Yeah.
Yeah, you.
Well, they go onto the
fools.
bridge, and he hears the thing counting down.
They beamed at the same time, right?
Yeah.
The computer is saying something.
So that's how many guys? 6? So it's like half.
Hey, I
Your
just wanted to
entire
let you
crew.
know that Kruge is about to yell, "Get out of there!" That's the best part, right? I was just telling everybody that's your favorite thing. Yeah, I don't think you have enough time to get down here, but I just thought I'd tell you about it.
There's about 30 seconds.
There's the Enterprise
Yeah,
D
it's
corridor.
great.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyway,
It
well, I'll
just
see you
flashed
later.
around a minute ago.
I gotta love you. Bye.
I love the.
Yep, I just called my wife upstairs just to tell her that you're get out of there is about to
Here
happen.
it is.
It's not new. She knew we were watching this movie. It was gonna happen at some point.
Somebody's smoking a cigarette. Jeez.
Put it out.
Put it out.
There's a
You got
bunch of guys
there
playing
is
pool
a
back
no
there.
smoking sign on this bridge.
There he is. Get out of there!
There it is.
The 1.21 gigawatts!
Whoa! That's like plaster.
I personally think the whole movie is worth that
It's like
moment.
plaster explosion.
Now I want to
This is
address
great.
the destruction of the Enterprise and all the people that were really upset about it. Because at the time there were people that were just livid that we blew up the Enterprise.
And the trailer ruins it.
It's like that's true,
Yeah.
but there were people that missed the trailer that saw it, didn't know that was going to happen.
Whoa!
Did you
What?
see how all the lights were on the Enterprise and they were running with minimal power up top?
Yeah,
That's true.
that's
No
good.
continuity
That's
there.
fair.
So yeah,
The half blown off saucer looks
I
great.
love
All
this.
that's really cool.
This is great.
Um,
This shot here, one of my favorite shots in the whole movie, right there.
that's great. That should have been a poster.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, that would have been a
it's
great
awesome.
poster.
But I was so what I was going to say is folks were upset about it, and they thought of the Enterprise as being like one of the main characters. And
Right.
you killed somebody important, and it hurt them like losing Spock. And for some people, it was a satisfying kind of pain.
Right.
And for other people, it was no, how dare you can't do that? Kind of a fanboy sort
Right.
of thing. I have 2 responses to that for myself personally. One of them is. The Enterprise had been changed and refit so hard, it's not the same
Right.
ship to me anyway.
Right.
The second thing is, I'm too young, unfortunately, to have begun to have had that.
Right.
With
Right.
it,
Because by the time I
um,
watched Star Trek, there had already been, all the...
we'd already gotten to D by the time I was
Right.
3.
Right.
And the other thing, I'm born in '84, so I don't have memories of when the Next Generation starts, right?
Right.
So there was Star Trek on the entire time I was watching Star
Right.
Trek up until Enterprise.
Right.
And
Sure.
then, but the other thing is, as I told you earlier, one of my earliest memories with Star Trek movies is the Enterprise blows up somewhere. I know
Right.
that happens. I don't even.
Right.
I couldn't even tell you which movie it happens in.
But you knew that.
Yeah.
Right.
How many times do we destroy an Enterprise? A lot.
Yep.
And
Well, we've done it 3 times in
the
movies.
A is... I mean, it's essentially the same.
Well, the A is just an Excelsior. No, B is Excelsior.
The B is
A's,
Excelsior.
yeah, A is pretty
A's
much the same ship.
Yeah, they just put the A letter on the...
Yeah.
Oh dear, he just hit his head.
But I get.
So yeah,
Why couldn't he have done that when he was about to kill David?
So as I said earlier,
No.
I do like this movie a lot. It has always felt, and again, I had a really, really good viewing of it when we did the video with Sarah, when I did the video with Sarah a few years ago. But here I'm having the same thing I did before, and I don't remember what I said in that video, where it does feel like there's something about it that feels a little bit incomplete.
It
Something
feels a
missing.
little rushed
It's-
in part. Yeah.
I mean, it feels kind of short, right?
It does feel short.
It doesn't even feel like it doesn't have a third act. It feels almost like it doesn't have a middle act.
Right. Right.
I don't know that everything must follow
confrontation.
a three-act formula,
Right.
but what is the confrontation
The
in this movie?
confrontation with the Klingons and him is way too truncated.
Yeah. Because, I mean, that is our big threat.
Right.
And,
Yeah, they don't get enough to do.
And some people complain that it was too much like Wrath of Khan in that the main conflict is you're going after a guy that's trying to get the super weapon.
Right.
I don't really have that problem with it because they have different motivations and their relationship with Kirk is different. Yada yada yada. It's just
but there needed to be more of a showdown between Kirk and Kruge.
Would you agree with this? If you had it to do all over again, if you knew this was where you were going, maybe you would have seeded the Klingons in Wrath of Khan.
That's true.
His mind's a void.
Oh, he said his mind's a void? I always thought he said his mind's a boy.
Learned something.
But with the evidence I'm getting from the movie, I don't buy that his mind is a void.
I don't buy that either. She's got a leaf in her hand.
I mean, unless you just
great.
you just assume that the Vulcan mind,
good.
they weren't going for this obviously, but unless you just assume that the Vulcan mind is so structured and organized, it would have an innate sense to pick up on how to
because
act.
it's not that's not exactly evolved though, right? Like that's all learned.
That's
even
true.
though we have like diseases and particular bodily functions and things that do seem to have evolved around the logic thing, it's real sticky, right?
Yeah, that's true.
It doesn't all actually really work. The Vulcans are in denial about whether or not they're capable of emotion, and they also have like physical pieces of evidence to suggest that that's true, except it's also clearly not.
Right. How much of this film had they shot before the fire happened and this destroyed the Genesis?
I mean, I would imagine this is the last thing on the set they shot, but
right,
I don't know.
But they had the fire, like the studio fire.
Oh, you're talking about the studio fire. I thought you meant that fire.
No, studio fire.
Yeah, it didn't destroy enough of the set that it hurt the
So it didn't have
production at all.
production?
It was
Okay.
somewhere like midway through.
Okay.
Yeah, that was the thing I'd forgotten about until I did some reading again today. There's a picture that was in one of the major newspapers and I think circulated and made news where the firemen show up and Shatner gets a fire hose.
Yeah, he was trying to put it out.
And he was trying to put it out, and they treated him like he was he single-handedly put out the fire.
I know.
And he didn't do anything.
I know.
But he tried. It's really funny. This all looks
he really
good.
He kind of builds that up too in his movie memories book.
Does he?
Too. Yeah.
Well, I like the title of that book though because he's talking about his memories, not what really happened
I know.
necessarily.
This is how I remember.
That's fine. He can do that. You know.
Activate beam.
Activate beam. Yeah. There is a Klingon word that means energize. I think that's probably the same word.
Yeah.
I wasn't actually paying attention to the Klingon there. I still know a few words here and there. I don't have as good of a grasp on grammar and syntax as I used
And it's
to.
funny, in Star Trek 6, Chang says something different when he wants them to beam him back. I don't remember what he says.
Yeah, and Okran added a lot of stuff for Star Trek 6.
Okay.
We updated well, we didn't update it. We added a what do you call it? We added a supplementary portion at the end of the dictionary. Yeah.
Okay.
When 6 came out, the first edition comes out with this movie.
Does he continue?
That's why it has that picture on it. Yeah.
Did he continue?
Give me Genesis.
Yeah, he went to Hot
Did he
Topic,
continue
by the
to add Klingon when they needed new Klingon words? Was he the one that added new Klingon words to in subsequent series?
Oh yeah,
and stuff?
yeah. No,
So
he's the keeper of.
he's the keeper of the language.
He created
okay.
the whole language. Yeah.
Okay. Oh.
Ow, my head. And then there's another.
Oh, fight dirty.
And then there's another
This is the
book
best part.
where he
Here it
added
goes.
even more. Yeah, yeah, that's the best.
That's like Star Trek.
That's some
6.
really nice matte painting work.
Yes.
This set was
and then
built.
when this thing falls too, it's great.
This set was built 16 feet off the ground,
Wow.
so that they could do all that pyrotechnics and stuff. Shake the camera.
Nice. Shake the camera so I'm gonna fall.
Whoa! You ever play Sonic the Hedgehog and you get Sonic like right on the edge of something and he starts doing this? Like there's an animation of the sprite where he does this?
Sonic the Hedgehog?
Sure,
There it
Brandon.
is. Oh.
Go back to Mordor.
The studio. I'm talking more about behind the scenes stuff than I usually do, but it's all fresh in my mind right now. The studio asked Bennett, and he refused, of course, to change that line to "This is for David."
Right, because 2 seconds before he tried to give me your hand. That makes more sense, I think. That after you trying to pull him down, he's like, "All right, that's enough."
Kirk hates Klingons.
That's fair,
right?
And it maybe would have been a little on the nose or whatever. It felt kind of out of character for him to say that. I don't know. That's a generic line, but as I said earlier, I lose David completely.
Right.
I forget he's a motivator at all.
Right.
For a Kirk. I love this main theme a lot.
Yes.
I
like Kirk just get bloodier. Yeah. I feel like Kirk just got bloodier.
Just coming down that mountain, he just took a little bit more.
Yeah. This is reminding me of that planet where the crystals keep popping up.
The crystals?
Isn't there a planet that the crystals keep growing around them and I can't feel like in Next Gen or something?
I don't know what it is. When Kara gets her foot.
Oh, no, that also, yeah. That was also what I was thinking.
I was thinking strictly TOS and could not think of an episode.
Oh, yeah,
I didn't realize you were talking about other things.
Other Trek.
I love Kirk speaking Klingon. I wish we got more of that. I forgot he said Julia Chu. That's really cool.
There he is, John Larroquette.
That's really funny. Do we,
He's the John Larroquette of the piece.
Do we buy that guy would, maybe it's just because it was really loud down there.
Yeah.
Do we buy that he would hear Kirk and think that it was Kirk?
That's an insult. That's such an insult.
Did really Kirk even need to do it? Because it seems like they had him at gunpoint even before he walked in.
Oh, it wouldn't matter.
No,
he always said, hey, you guys, beat me up.
Beat me up. There was one guy left.
The Klingon had him at bay, I think. They were all stuck. They just weren't in a brig or anything.
Savick had the gun on him when Kirk walked in.
It wasn't anything about Kirk beaming up that made that happen.
Yeah. And they're just like, all right.
Oh, that's really funny.
And he's like...
Okay,
Boom.
I'm floundering around. I'm kind of fumbling for what it is that people, and I'm including myself in this, feel like this movie is kind of missing, where it just doesn't feel complete enough. It's really easy to go to, it's just an extension of the last movie. There is an occasion for story. There's an impetus for all of this. It does start from like I said, an occasion for story. Something happens that gets it started, and it obviously has a resolution. Is this a crazy thing to say? We were talking earlier about how it feels a little short.
Right.
It's almost like one episode.
It is. It is. It's like it does feel like an episode, kind of.
Almost like a season finale.
Right. I'm glad they left this scene in.
So did they tell McCoy?
This is the scene that Shatner thought he should have been in.
This was it?
Yes.
No. Oh my god.
And I hesitated saying that because I knew it was something to do with McCoy and Spock, but I couldn't remember a scene where they were in a room together. That's right. This is that scene. Wouldn't that have been ridiculous?
DeForest Kelly is so great.
At the beginning,
and he really got a lot to do in these movies as far as, exploring his character and stuff.
Well, he's a country doctor in space. It's great. Oh, he's doing the eyebrow thing.
I think the set is just the sick bay from the Enterprise with just some different lighting.
Yeah. I honestly always thought that was sickbay.
Yeah.
Even though it's on the Klingon ship?
Yeah.
Nice.
Yeah. When I was a kid, I was like, oh, wait, they're not on sickbay. That's not possible.
Vulcan looks great. So he never watched Amok Time or any of that stuff? Wow.
That's what he told me.
Okay.
Huh.
Now, he was also 94 years old, so it's possible that he doesn't remember that he actually looked at tapes.
That's possible, yeah.
But his mind seemed like a steel trap to me.
It's been a while.
Why would he send him down on manual in an unfamiliar vessel?
Is this cool?
So this hasn't been remastered at all.
No.
Looks so good.
Yeah.
See, that's what I was going to ask earlier, and I'm like, surely it's been remastered. No, it looks great.
That's great. I love this.
That's
and then the
cool.
searchlight hits it there. Yeah.
That's really cool.
That's some impressive model work. You get these little tunneling light, these fixtures that allow the light to collimate, and you give it a bunch of smoke, and you get those columns on models, even just real tiny.
I think part of what makes this feel more like a traditional original series episode than a lot of the rest of these, and especially up to this point, is just the fact that we finally went back to Vulcan.
Right.
That's
some great map
Forge.
Look at that map painting.
Yeah, I mean, I don't think they're calling it that yet.
Yeah, but that's what this is. This area is, right?
Yeah, that is Mount Solea, I think.
Yeah,
Yes, that's what they call it, yeah.
Yeah, their sacred area. One of them. Isn't that also where they keep the archives, the Vulcan archives?
Yeah, again, according to later things.
Sure. That's cool.
Yeah.
Intense.
Yeah, I really like all the mystery and the relics, and this kind of pseudo mysticism.
That's exactly the word,
even though it fits, I think squarely within the realm of science fiction. I think it works. One thing that I've always felt weird about, and a lot of people complained about, and I think I'm still with them on this. And tell me what you guys think. Is that this has never probably happened before, and they have a ritual for it.
Oh, yeah.
You don't think they've ever put the Katra back in?
They said it hadn't been done since ancient times.
Yeah.
Or ages past. That's what they said. So it's been.
I guess I just mean this exact thing.
Why would they be doing it now if they don't?
They could put the Contra in a dead body, but it's a living body.
Right. I see.
And this exact.
As far as bringing it back, right?
Unless somebody had their Contra taken out of them by a mind meld while they're still alive, maybe that's happened. Again, they said it hadn't happened since ancient times, which is part of why that period in Enterprise gets really goofy, where there's a stigma against mind melding and stuff.
Right.
And why we had to say that was a big conspiracy. And kind of just a hiccup in the history.
Right. Talar.
Yeah, I always remember this as being actually T'Pau, but it isn't.
Right. Brandon, you need to cosplay as that guy behind Sarah.
That headdress thing?
Yeah.
That'd be
awesome.
So he had a staff, and he's like, no, Kirk.
This, to me, has a very Dune quality.
Yeah.
These scenes here.
Dune, yeah.
I forgot that was the first place where his father's name comes up.
Stop the pain.
Which is another reason that
Stop
we
the
just
pain,
don't need Star Trek V at all.
To restore his dignity.
I want my pain. I need my
I
pain.
want my pain. I need my pain. So human.
Because Spock used all his power to give it to you.
And then, of course, Enterprise wrecks this by saying, by having Surak's Katra going Archer. So it has not been millennia past. It's been about 100 years since it happened last. Although I'm sure these people don't know about that.
Yeah, well, Enterprise did a lot of things.
Did you say Enterprise is a lie?
I said Enterprise did a lot of things.
Oh, I thought it was like the cake. It's a lie. Enterprise is a lie.
I don't necessarily buy that Bones would have gone and done this so quickly, other than the fact that it's really messing with his own mind.
I would have bought it after all of
Bones
this.
is so skeptical of a lot of things, though.
No, I think after having Spock's thing put inside him.
No, I get that, and that's what I am saying is that's the only thing that allows me to believe that he's doing that so readily. But I would have expected something like is this how it's gotta be?
I love that. It's a callback to the time shield, or not shield, gong.
The gong thing,
yes. But they need to make that sound. I would have liked that. Yeah.
He's wearing lipstick.
Okay, so the priestess, is that who they called Talar?
That's Talar.
She's Talar.
Yes. That would have been cool if it had been T'Pau.
She's also wearing a ring pop.
There's a
it is a ring pop.
There's a whole thing in that autobiography again about how they have a conversation about how they're letting T'Pau think that Kirk is dead. And they're like, yeah, she won't check into that. Like, she'll never know. And then later he meets her again, and I don't know if it's here, and just she's there, but we don't see her here, or I forget where it is. I think or do we? I think maybe he meets her right at the beginning of 4 before they leave, and she's still around. Although you'd think that maybe she's retired or something. I don't know. Because if she's still leading the planet, you'd think it'd be her here.
Right.
I don't know why they didn't just recast her and still call her that, because Vulcans live a long time.
Right.
And it's not like she'd be necessarily dead by now.
Right.
But it's really funny because they have an exchange, and she's just like, oh, I thought you were dead. and I guess he saved the universe so much, she just kind of goes with it, but it's really funny.
What do you think of that stylized montage there in the middle of that?
I think it works as far as trying to show the depiction of the bringing him back. It looked like it took a long time, too. Is it now morning?
Yeah. Well, they probably performed the ceremony, then they had to wait.
Yeah.
They all appear to be standing in the same place, don't they?
They should come back, everybody's just sitting on the ground, like... Oh!
The mesh of different ancient civilizations here is really cool.
Yeah, just like Egyptian
I was going to say, there's some Egyptian, but a lot of it is real Eastern.
Yeah. Yes.
Specifically, around, like, Japan or Korea.
Right. And the acolytes there of her were, like, kind of like a reference almost to, like, the Oracle of Delphi and that kind of thing and stuff. Yeah.
I was reading some Greek in it.
Yeah.
Or maybe Roman before Greek, but yeah.
Greek, yeah.
Oh, I forgot he said that. I was going to say only time will tell.
Man, he really bedazzled that outfit. There's like big rhinestones there.
But yeah, this is the really important thing is did he do the right thing or not?
Right.
Yeah,
I don't know.
It's a human thing.
But I buy that he couldn't sleep at night if he didn't.
Right.
So that also implies a little bit of selfishness on his part.
Yeah, of course.
Right.
And part of the question there is how much of human nature and human morality is built on a sense of self versus a sense of selflessness. Where is that line? Of course.
True. So he gains a friend back, but loses a relative as well. So there's also that's a big conflict I never really thought about.
Yeah, and a thing that we don't deal with enough, because he should be blaming himself as much as the Klingons for his son's death.
Absolutely.
And that's why I said I lose his son's death almost completely, and it kind of feels like the movie just wants it to feel like there's more at stake, so they kill the expendable guy.
Right.
Because he and Savik are about the only people you could get rid of.
Right.
You're not going to kill any other major characters after you just kill off one and brought him back. It would have been real gutsy to do that. If it's like, yeah, McCoy has no contract. Or not McCoy. Right. He wouldn't be a person you could kill because he has let's say Scotty or let's say Chekhov. Well, Chekhov has no contract. He's dead.
Right.
And he ain't coming back, you know.
Right.
No Vulcan mystical ritual is going to bring back Chekhov.
No Vulcan mysticism this time.
Right.
There'll be no resurrection this time. Wasn't that the line from... Yeah, anyway.
And I love how different he looks.
Yeah.
You know, we really thought about that with the hair.
Yeah.
I really like that because I pause for a second and I say, would Spock have come back? I mean, I think, yeah, he probably would have. And that's where...
Right.
That's where you have that really interesting conflict between the Vulcan and the human side, right?
Right.
Which, of course, is supposed to represent the conflict in all of us.
Right.
Where he sacrificed himself, of course,
Right.
but it would have been different had Kirk done that.
Right.
Here's an interesting question, and maybe the movie isn't thinking about this, but what do you think? He just said the needs of the one outweighed the needs of the few. Was he talking about his needs?
No.
Or Spock's needs?
It's not what Spock's needs. The need of them saving Spock, all of them.
I mean, sure, there's maybe a little bit of subtext with that.
Right.
Remember. Is that a mural or just rock in the background?
I think it's
That's
that painting.
rock. I don't know. It's blurry right now, I'm not sure.
I think it is supposed to be rock, though. Just all of a sudden I thought for a moment. This is a little weird.
Roddenberry was also concerned that just two friends being put back together at the end wasn't a big enough, like, kind of chutzpah ending for a major motion picture. And why do I disagree with that? And that feels like an almost anti-Roddenberry thing to say, really.
Right. Right. Yeah. I know. Yeah.
I forgot that the TOS melody was in the score there. That's lovely.
Yeah.
It's great.
And
I also
picture
forgot
continues.
that's how that ended. Just like a TOS episode where they're laughing at the end of the
that's true.
on the bridge.
Yeah. It maybe comes off, except at least it wasn't a joke.
Right.
It comes off as maybe pretentious to people. I've always really liked it. I think, especially given the subject matter with this movie, I would have put the word human in front of adventure again.
There's all the guys.
I think.
Yeah.
I think I might have still done that.
So Leonard Nimoy wasn't credited up front, was he? Aside from director,
I don't know.
As
if
like
his name's
cast.
in the opening credits, as far as
was he
part
in
of
the opening
cast.
credits? Because
I
that
don't
would have given
remember.
away that he had a major part, right?
I mean, I don't know.
Well, his name's in the title of the
Right.
film.
So
Yeah, it's
Fletcher.
the search
obviously he's
for
gonna
Spock.
be in the
Yeah.
movie.
Is anybody thinking that the end of that
guess.
movie is we couldn't
I
find
couldn't
him?
find Spock.
I don't know where he
It's
is.
It's like when I lost my car keys.
It is kind of funny that it's called The Search for Spock, and they know where he is.
Right.
Yeah.
Like, there's not really a search. It's more of the rescue of Spock,
Right.
or the, like, it's a good title,
Right.
but if you start thinking about it, it's not really a title that
Right.
makes sense.
The Berman
next
Studio,
movie
but
you
not
could
the
call The
Berman
But
Search
not
Studio.
that Berman.
Yes.
Not the
search
Rick
for
Berman.
Spock,
There's too many
yeah,
Ricks.
Spock is searching
What is it
for
with
What is it with Ricks? Sorry, what?
I was going to say, you call the next movie Search for Spock because Spock is
Look at those
searching
best
for himself
boys.
at that point.
Spock Search
This
for
big
Spock.
Ed Cooper.
Originally, the title was going to have Genesis in it,
Really?
which I kind of like better, actually.
Yeah.
The Search for Spock on the
This-
Genesis planet,
That
right where
gets
they left him.
people. This maybe gets more butts in the seats. I understand why Spock's name is in that title.
Right.
I'm a little bit surprised that more people didn't revolt against this movie, where they might feel like they're
It's a huge
They're
retcon of a
being-
major
Or
plot
feel
point.
like it was
where they're being emotionally manipulated.
right.
Right.
Like they feel like it cheapened the ending of the previous
Yeah.
film.
Well, the very next thing you do, of course, you're just gonna bring him right back.
Right.
And that's why the second J.J. Abrams movie kind of sucked so bad in that department, because they did its same movie and they totally ruined that whole...
Yeah, and honestly, I
Civil
mean,
Blood.
I wouldn't say this in retrospect because I really like Beyond, but I was going to be really impressed. In the theater, I thought, are they gonna kill? Are they gonna let Kirk die, and the next movie is Search for Kirk? Because I actually really wanted that.
That would have been interesting.
Yeah.
Hey, that might sound stupid, but Darkness is already stupid, and it would have been the right kind of stupid for me.
That's true.
I would have loved that, man, because you already went all the way and made two Wrath of Khan. Might as well have Search for Kirk, right?
That would have been really kind of interesting. But don't get me wrong, I do like Beyond.
Yeah.
I think Beyond was a great
that's what they should have done for the sake of the really crappy ending of Darkness. Of course, I liked that movie a lot when it first came out because I had this blinder thing with Star Trek. You guys remember we went to Beyond and I said, okay, you guys need to help me figure out if that was actually a good movie or if I'm just drinking the Kool-Aid again.
It was good.
Because I did it twice and then we were befuddled. I can't wait for us to get to that movie.
Yeah.
That'll be really interesting for the three of us to do a commentary on.
I haven't watched
since it was
it.
us that had that experience
Oh,
together.
that one, yes. I haven't watched it.
Mr. Adventure!
It's
for Spock age 9, 13, 17, and 25. They have ages listed
That's
out.
Awesome. Let me
Klingon.
go back and look them up. You know what? I'm curious now.
Oh, Janine Morey, she was great.
Let's see.
Good job, Helm.
Good job, Helm. And waitress, Sharon Thomas.
Oh, is that the waitress
That's the lady that looks like a grandma.
that looks like she came out of Captain Invincible, and she has the weird makeup?
Yes.
Yeah. Spock Screams by Frank Welker, because of course. Because he's in everything.
Did we say?
No, not by Pee Wee Herman.
Did we say 83
Frank
or 84
Welker.
for this movie?
84.
Okay.
84.
84.
I
That's
meant-
what Wikipedia says.
I meant to say 84. Did I say 83 earlier? I meant 84.
Its budget was 16 million, but the box office was 87.
Yep.
Pretty
So
good.
it was a big winner.
Special thanks.
Yep. These are things we know.
Yeah, well,
What is
I'm
I
looking
Remember
for-
You? What are these original songs here?
I will remember
I don't remember
you.
any original songs.
Ba-da-da-ba-da-ba-da.
I guess it was in the bar scene, maybe, in the background.
I don't know.
know.
What is Tangerine?
I don't know. Glenn Glenn.
I don't know. Remember good old Glenn Glenn. We like to thank Glenn and his brother Glenn.
Yes. Movie Lab.
Well, that was quick because this movie's too short.
That sounds like
It's
a holding
105
company for
minutes.
illegal money.
It's a
Cinema
short
Group
movie.
Venture.
Yep.
What are XDR cassettes?
I don't
What
know.
the hell is that?
What is that,
What is
Brandon?
that,
Good
Brandon?
What's
question.
an
What is
XDR? You don't know that either?
I don't know what that
Okay,
is.
we're gonna
no.
find out what an XDR cassette
So what
is.
was the rival to Laserdisc? It was the vinyl. I can't think of
CED.
Yeah,
CD.
yeah.
Select
I
Division.
had this.
Or-
This came through one day at my work when I worked
Savers?
for the Savers.
You know, they sell those things. Could there even be one of those players still working?
Yes.
Really?
Oh yeah, people. They come up every once in a while in antique stores. People will still service them.
That's just a fancier way to say cassette tapes, apparently,
Oh,
and
so
that's the kind of technology
okay.
cassette tapes are,
Okay.
and that was probably for the soundtrack.
Okay.
They were-
yeah. It said on vinyl and.
Oh, okay,
Cassette,
yeah.
yeah.
That's what that is. It's not a
Okay.
different kind of cassette. It's just a cassette,
Okay.
How about that?
according to Wikipedia.
Ah.
Extended dynamic range.
Oh yeah, but they had different formulas.
Is a
and
quality
stuff.
control and duplication process for the
Right.
mass production of pre-recorded audio cassettes.
Okay.
Gotcha.
It was one of those trade name things to try to marketing ploys.
My next my next self-imposed job is going to be just to read Wikipedia articles really fast at people. That's my plan.
All right. So Spock, age 9, was Carl Steven.
Are we doing this? Are we going?
I just want to
like
see
why
if they've
are we
been
doing
in
that?
anything.
No. I don't think we need to do this, Brandon.
We're gonna be
He was
sitting
in
around here
Teen
for a while.
Wolf.
Okay.
He was in Honey, I Shrunk the Kids.
Probably just has
Was
some
one of
good
the
parts and
kids
stuff.
got shrunk?
He was one of the kids, I think. Tommy Purvis.
That sounds like a fake name. Tommy Purvis. That sounds like a Leave It to
It
Beaver
real-
kid.
It really does. Yeah.
Oh, there's Tommy Purvis.
Well, folks, the movie's over.
Yes,
So
now watch
I'm
the
sorry,
DVD
Brandon, but
menu.
we're all out of time,
We're out
man.
of time.
He was in Superman 1988, the animated thing. Anyway.
Okay.
Yeah, that was probably Ruby Spears. But anyway, well, everybody, thanks as always.
Yeah.
for listening.
We'll be back.
We will be
With
back
Star Trek
shortly.
4.
So we're going to come back with 4. I think before that, we're probably going to do a different movie.
Yes.
Adam and I are doing commentaries every couple of weeks.
And we're going to do Roger Rabbit, all
we're,
3 of them.
We're going to try to bring Brandon in for the next
yeah.
one. We're going to do Roger Rabbit next.
Yeah.
That is the big plan. So we're going to try to do that before we do Star Trek 4. And then we will come back with Star Trek 4, The Voyage Home, which is wonderful and hilarious, and I can't wait to talk about it. Finally, been meaning to do a commentary on this for a million years, and thank you guys for joining me. What's up?
Who Framed Roger Rabbit? Also, Christopher Lloyd as the villain.
That's true.
Oh my god, look at that.
Yeah.
We didn't even plan that.
And he talked just like this! Anyway, thanks again for listening, folks, and I hope I didn't just blow your eardrums out. I am Captain Logan.
And I'm Adam.
Aww.
Hi, bro.
And I'm Brandon.
And Brandon was here too. Thanks, folks. We'll see you soon.